Hi, I'm Terry, and I'm nuts about stamping. I'm back today with another Sundays with Sizzix project. It's this beautiful but very simple card I created using my Big Shot. Here are the products I used. Along with my Big Shot and my 2 standard cutting pads, I used, I think last week I showed you, or I introduced to you, the Textured Impressions embossing folders called Adorning Accents. We're going to use this one this week. And along with that, and corresponding with that, I'd like to introduce to you a new product in the Occasions mini catalog. They're edgelets, and I'm going to use the Adorning Accents edgelets, and I'm using this one. I'm going to use my Versamark ink pad, my Poppy Parade ink pad, and just for a touch of fun, let me bring this back in, the teacup from my stamp set, and I'll show that to you in a minute, I embossed it, and I used the brand new scented embossing powder. This is the Cherry. I have my modern label punch and my word window punch. I used some basic pearl jewels. I used my paper piercing tool. For cardstock, I used Very Vanilla. I used it as a card base, and then I used several scrap pieces as well in Very Vanilla. And then for my stamp set, I used Shoppe. I love this stamp set. It is so much fun to play with. I used this image, the word image here, and then the outline frame image. And because mine's clear mount, I used Clear Block E and Clear Block B. And I used some snail adhesive, and I used some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'll be back in a moment, and I'll show you how to create the decorative front for this card. All right, I'm back. And while I was getting my table set up for the next part of the video, I went and used my Simply Scored to create a scoring line to mark my card in half. Now the first thing I want to do on this card is I want to use my edgelet. The edgelets come in a really nice plastic case with a little snap closure. There's a piece of double-sided sticky tape on the cardboard backing that holds the edgelet to the backing so it doesn't get damaged, and you can store it easily. The edgelets themselves have 2 sides. One side is very smooth and the other side has like a lip on it. That would be your cutting edge. So you want the lip side down. So what I'm going to do is do the bottom front cut on my card. To do this, your platform needs to be closed completely. I don't think I've shown you a video with it closed completely. You're going to put your bottom standard cutting pad on. You're going to open up your card base, and then you're going to carefully lay your edgelet down to cut off the front of the card as much as you want or as little as you want. Now the edgelets are really long, so you want to make sure that as you slide it through your Big Shot, it's not overlapping on one side, because it'll actually damage your edgelet. And then you're going to put your top standard cutting pad on, lay it down. I hold mine in place and then run it through the Big Shot so it doesn't slide partway through. It's going to make a cracking and a crunching sound. But when you're done, there's the decorative edge cut off the front of your card. And there's my 2 pieces left over there. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to bring in my embossing folder, and I want to emboss just slightly above where I have already done my cut. So I just put my folder in. Remember though that you have a rough side and a smooth side. I almost did mine wrong. You want the rough side underneath, and then you want the smooth side on top. There we go. I'm just going to line mine up carefully here. Just a little bit of adjusting. Okay. There we go. So I've got my cut edge, and I'm going to emboss my other edge. And to do that, I put mine on tab 1. Bring my Big Shot back in. Bottom standard cutting pad, your cardstock with the embossing folder on top, and then your top cutting pad, and then again I hold it in place and run it through. I'm going to bring it back because I'm also going to emboss the top edge. There you go, you can see the cut edge and the embossed edge. And then I'm going to bring my folder back in. And this time I want it to be the opposite of the bottom embossed edge. I want the top edge to be embossed, going the different direction. Like so. You can have it as close to the crease as you want, or if you want, you can bring it down a little bit. I'm going to bring mine down a little bit. Same sandwich. Hold it on. Put your top cutting pad on, and then guide it through your Big Shot. Like so. It does not damage the one you've already done. And there we go. I have a beautiful, very easy front decorative edge to my card. Now let me bring back in my original. So all I did to complete my card was on a piece of scrap Whisper White, I stamped and punched out with my Modern Label punch that little dotted background image, and I used Poppy Parade ink. I stamped using Poppy Parade again, a cup of thanks, punched that out using my word window punch. I adhered the Modern Label layer flat to the card and put a couple of small Stampin' Dimensionals under a cup of thanks to pop it up. I used tiny little pearls from my rhinestone, or from my Basic Pearls jewels. I put one here and one there. And then, let me tell you how to do this embossed front. It's really cool. You can take any one of your classic inks and make it embossable. And here's what you do. The first thing you do is you ink it up with Versamark ink. Then, when it's wet with the Versamark, you stamp it in the Poppy Parade. Stamp it on Scrap Very Vanilla. Sprinkle your embossing powder over. I used the cherry embossing powder. It embosses clear but has a nice cherry smell to it. Or you can use clear embossing powder and then heat it up with your tool to emboss it and then cut it out. I put some Stampin' Dimensionals underneath, and then I put 3 small pearls, the Basic Pearls jewels, on top to complete it. And that's my card. Quick and easy, beautiful. I guess the most meticulous part is trying to cut that out in the center there, get the handle of the cup open. You could leave it without cutting it out, or if you have like an X-Acto knife or something that's a good sharp blade, you can cut it that way. For a complete listing of the supplies and the measurements for this card, please go over to my blog, www.nutsaboutstamping.com. While on my blog, you can place an order. I have a brand new Shop Now button on my blog. You can click on that and go directly to my online store. Or you can always email me for order support. You can click the Contact Me button and ask me a question. You can cruise through many other sample ideas, or you can subscribe to my newsletter. I have a newsletter coming out next week. I'm Terry. I'm nuts about stamping. See you next time. Bye for now.